maximize veteran employee retention and success.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. We have a very rich panel for you. I say that because of you just look at his jacket and it starts right from there all the way down. So my name is James Tongate. I'm the Vice President of Government Military Relations for Benelink. Basically, we are a social care company that helps out with the health care of Medicare, Medicaid aged members to include a lot of veterans and stuff. We're a 5-star employer now. And we've had a heck of a run getting to this point. Right now, well, let me back up. I will also say that this weekend I'll be retiring from the Kentucky National Guard as the Command Senior Enlisted Leader. Appreciate it. So straight from here to Louisville, Kentucky. And I've been in since 1986, a mixture of active Air Force. Was a soldier in the Army National Guard for a bit, and then went into the Air National Guard. And now I have, a bunch of soldiers right now, 6,600 soldiers, 1,250 airmen. A lot of them are down there helping out with all the flooding going on in Kentucky. So, pray for those families and all that. So without further ado, let me turn it over to the panelists. They're going to introduce themselves, give a little bit about what they do, and a little bit about their company. So start with you, Bo.
All right. Through this microphone's and breathe. Microphone's always part, right? Is there a thing? All right, that works. So I'm Bo Higgins. For those who don't know me, I was 25 years Marine Corps. After the Marine Corps, I spent 7 years at Amazon and ran all their veteran hiring programs. So got to know a lot of the folks in this room from being the Amazon guy and wearing jackets, which is kind of my calling card. I have a lot of jackets. People ask how many. I'm like, I don't ask my wife how many pairs of shoes she has. Don't ask me how many jackets I have. I got a lot. I left Amazon a couple years ago and moved over to a company called Opline, which is a tool we used at Amazon a ton. Opline basically is for lack of a better word, it's an MOS matching tool that actually works. USA is a customer, Verizon, Amazon still is. So but we give it free to the veterans and military spouses. Vet Jobs uses it, O2O, Vets in Tech, Hire Heroes USA. So again, it's free for veterans, free for military spouses. If your company's looking to hire more veterans and wants a tool that can help them do that, that's what I do at Opline. But great to be here. I also can consult with companies that are looking to build their veteran hiring programs as well. So a little bit of everything, but good stuff.
I got this one figured out. Thanks, Bo. Hi, everybody. My name is Rob Opp. I am with TD Bank. TD Bank is one of the largest banks in North America, America's most convenient bank. So my job is I am a talent sourcer. I support the recruiting of every role in the bank. I love to focus on veterans as well. I am an Army vet, career reservist. Thank you. 10 years in, I did go to Afghanistan in 2013 and Jordan 2017. What else did you want me to comment on?
About your company itself.
About my company, TD Bank, large bank. We do security work, retail, commercial lending.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer Lynn. I am the Military Talent Program Manager for Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, California. We are the #1 hospital in California and #2 in the country. We're a level 1 trauma center, research, teaching, and academic facility. I have been with Cedars now for 3 years, and I am also serving part-time in the United States Army. I am an operations NCOIC at a drill sergeant training unit, so nothing really to do with what I do here at Cedars, but very honored to be able to run this program and to really pour my heart and soul into mentorship programs.
Well, thank you all very much. I want to kick right off and go into the introduction to the programs that each of your companies have right now. So can each of you share a brief overview of your mentorship or peer support programs that are specifically designed for veteran employees? And second part to that question is, what motivated your organization to implement these type of programs? Anyone?
I can start. So first and foremost, I think what motivated me to start a mentorship program was that I myself started to seek out mentorship. I think I look at my career in the military, and if you think about it, every unit has a sponsor. When you first come into that unit, they help show you around, right? They get you acclimated. It's part of your in-processing to have someone to guide you. And then throughout your career, I'm sure if raise your hand if you were in the military or you're serving in the military and you still remember the number one person that made an impact on your career, raise your hand. Yeah, you almost all of you have somebody.
Mhm.
So I thought, okay, let's look at workforce retention. Let's look at our organizational goal to succession plan and to find ways to grow our internal talent, because it's so much cheaper to promote from within than it is to look externally. So that's like, I was like, okay, we don't really have anything like this. We're actually pretty relatively new to the DE&I space. It's probably only a 7-year-old program in our organization, and Vet Connect, our employee resource group, was the very first one to launch. So I said, okay, we can run our mentorship program through the ERG and pair veterans with other veterans and run that simultaneously with their onboarding if they're new to the organization. Or if we have someone who wants to grow, we can pair them with somebody who's been tenured in the organization and give them that guidance. And now we're organically growing our talent. So I myself, pretty relatively new to the organization, sought out a mentor and then got some information from them. And then that's what inspired me to launch this program.
There's a lot of similarities with TD Bank as well. I've been with the bank for 5 years. This mentorship program is just starting its second year. But it got started because there was a lot of behind the scenes one-on-one mentoring through our ERG, right? People were asking for it. You know how service members are with each other. Somebody asks, another one will come in, step up, and make it happen, right? Well, then we decided to formalize the process. It isn't just for veterans. It is also for allies. So anybody who is a member of our ERG is open to this membership, to this mentorship program. But it really did come from the ERGs. And the veteran pillar was the last of the employee resource groups to really get created within the bank. But man, once it got started, it hit the ground running. I got to say, it's mostly because it's mostly Army people. So that's why it's been so successful. No, just kidding. Everybody, am I getting booed? Am I getting booed?
It's after lunch.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. No, everybody is represented, but it has hit the ground running, and I'm really proud of the bank because it is a lot of work on the side of your desk, right? Not a lot of people have the title veteran in their title within the bank, but our employees have stepped up. They said this is the program we want, and we're going to make it happen. In addition to just doing it behind the scenes, so great job. It's had a lot of success. It goes from the employees at the lowest levels to executives. So everyone throughout the bank is getting involved. People state at the beginning what it is they want to achieve from this. We've had people get promoted or just learn about different lines of business within the bank. So it's been really impactful right away.
And I'll talk again. I'll hit a little bit and really more talk about my time at Amazon because I helped build the mentoring platform there. And what Jennifer said is, I think, is important to talk about two different pieces of this of mentoring, right? Because I believe there is something we're used to in the military as having a sponsor. When you get to your new base, you're assigned someone just to show where the chow hall is, to figure out where you're going, like how do you get, just the kind of day-to-day stuff. Because those first 6 months at a new company, you're just trying, especially at Amazon, you are breathing from a fire hose, right? You're just trying to figure out how to get down the hallway and figure out where the meeting's being held or how to log on to the laptop, right? Or those kind of things. At some point, you come to a place where, okay, I've been here a while, I'm comfortable. Now I need to figure out how I'm going to get promoted, have a career. And the reality is, and certainly at Amazon, maybe different at some of the companies you're with, but it's not like in the military where if you do these things and you go to this school, you are going to get promoted. And Amazon was very kind of nebulous of like, how do you get promoted? What do you need to do? And I think that's the beauty of what a mentor was there for. It's like, okay, you've been here a little while. You need someone that's going to kind of help guide you to your career progression once you've kind of made it past the shock of being there and kind of have your badge and have your laptop and figure out how to get in all the Chime groups and whatnot, Slack groups. Just a different kind of level. So that's the way I saw the mentor was, okay, career progression wise in what can be a very opaque system for promotion or advancement, how can somebody provide that support to you? And they be able to matching tool to do that so you can find someone, veteran or non-veteran, to provide those kind of answers for you. So it worked out very well.
I think one more point that Jennifer made, and I want to comment on. Does anybody know the statistic on how long veterans last at their first job after service?
Less than 3 years.
Okay, that's not good, right? That's horrible for the business, horrible for the veteran. This program is kind of an olive branch from allies and veterans already within the organization to give to these new transitioning service members, right? This is that that support they need to transition to a private company. So this mentorship program has also really supported that.
Thank you. So I can say for us, basically, for Benelink, I mean, we started with 19 people. You know, I was with Humana for 18 years. Then I moved over to Marsh McLennan, which is here in New York. And we became a #1 military friendly company and all of those things as well. Humana did eventually the programs that we built there. But the small company, I wasn't used to that, but ended up moving to 19 of us, startup. How do we get where we're going? Within 5 years now, we have over 800 and something folks in 23 states. So we're doing something right. Our big focus is veterans and military spouses, building those programs out. But coming down to this question or on peer programs and mentorship, communication is the key to everything. Relationship building, no matter what we do, we all recognize this, right? I'm not saying anything we all don't know already. So moving on into the program impact, I think, Rob, you said that a while ago here. So what measurable impacts have you observed in veteran employee retention and overall success since the implementation of your mentorship programs?
So I don't have a lot of metrics on that quite yet because it is still young. It is only 2 years old, our mentorship program. But when we have the post program surveys, we have seen a lot of employee happiness with just where they can go with their career, right? So it has offered a lot of career guidance. People have learned a lot about new lines of businesses that they might be interested or their skills can transfer to, which could land opportunities for promotion. So I'll have to get back to you on the KPIs. Maybe next year, if I'm invited to speak, I'll come back and I'll talk about how great we're doing. But the happiness is there, and that's really what it's about, right? You got happy employees, they're going to stay, and that's really what it's about.
Could you tell us about your approach, what TD is thinking about doing, or what are you starting to go towards, or is that too early for measurements wise?
Yeah, so at this point, we have the surveys at the end, and we'll talk about where did we hit, where did we miss, what would you like to see for next year. But every year it's gotten better than the last regarding just how happy the employees are. So right now, I'm proud to say that it's helping our retention for sure.
Okay. Jennifer.
At Cedars-Sinai, we launched the program about a year ago. We piloted 6 months. We had 6 people go through as a pilot, just veterans. This year in January, we launched officially and opened it up to military spouses. And within the first, I'd say 4 months, because what are we in? We're in April. We had a military spouse who I got her through Hiring Our Heroes. She started out as a senior admin, and on April 21st, I think, she starts as a project coordinator. So she's our first person to actually promote, and she's been getting regular mentorship from someone. And so that's already proving in such a short period of time how valuable those conversations are, and the fact that it is enabling our military affiliated population to come out and say, I want to grow, and what do you have to offer me that's going to help me grow throughout my career here, rather than me going outside to take a promotion or take another position. So it's nice to show something in such a short period of time. I think on the other side of it is the engagement piece. And this is really important for remote workers, because I think remote workers oftentimes feel like they're just logging onto a computer and then clocking out, and that's it. And so they get a little bit disengaged. The employee satisfaction, while it's great to work remotely, it's very convenient, you miss that interaction. And so we finally have a remote military spouse who is a mentor, And when I knew I was coming here, I was like, give me some honest feedback, guys. Like, how are we feeling? And she said, this actually really helped because I was starting to feel forgotten about. And so I'm excited to be able to interact with people that I've never met face to face before. And now I'm having those conversations and I'm actually sharing my knowledge and being valuable to somebody. And I think that's really important to feel that. So this is allowing our remote workers to get involved too.
And from a data and metrics standpoint, again, what we saw at Amazon was that when I first got there, and I said I spent 7 years there, our veterans had a higher attrition rate than non-veterans when I first got there. Over the time we implemented the mentoring program, we saw it become into parity, which was a win, right? It improved. But the other thing we saw, which I think was also a factor in the mentoring program, was that the promotion rates of our veterans were higher than non-veterans. So the key is really getting that veteran over the initial hump, I think is harder than non-veterans sometimes, especially if you've done 20 years and you are making a major cultural shift into a brand new corporate culture and you're used to, knife handing, or used to this. Like, how do you help them adjust to that culture and then find a mentor that can help them not only stay, but then really figure it out and then thrive and promote. So, right, it's not only keeping them, it's keeping them and helping them advance at a higher rate than their peers. And I'll put another plug in too for, the other thing we did in conjunction with the mentoring program was spend some concerted effort. Not only, again, onboarding for our new population was great, but for new managers that were not veterans, training for them as well. And if any of y'all are familiar with Psych Armor and some of the work that they do, some amazing classes, simple stuff like 10 things you should know about a veteran that you manage, 10 things about a military spouse you manage, right? Simple stuff, but there is such a stereotype, that every veteran is Rambo, right? They're going to go postal and they're crazy, but veterans come in every size, shape, color, creed, background, right? And it, as silly or as basic as it sounds, providing that education to managers of veterans also helped, I think, improve our retention rate and promotion rate, because they were able to understand, okay, I can understand this person's background a little bit. They're not somebody I should be afraid of or whatever it is, but to get over that and to help our leaders be better leaders of veterans, I think was also something that went hand in hand with that, implementing that mentorship program.
Really good stuff for sure. So all these rainbows and unicorns and all this stuff, everything's working for your companies, right? Can you tell us what challenges have you encountered when establishing mentorship programs for veterans, and how did you address those type of obstacles? Anyone?
Yeah, I think, in a hospital, it can be a very chaotic environment. And I think trying to get people to sit down and carve out time, even if it's just 30 minutes, sometimes that can be challenging, especially if you're in the emergency department or you're in the operating room. It's difficult. I think another thing that we see a lot of, and it's not just even with our mentorship programs, it's with any event. We have people on shift work, and that graveyard shift is just so hard to target sometimes. So we may not have somebody that we can pair with that person at that moment on graveyard to help get them what they need. So, and I'm only one person. I'd love to work and help out 24/7, but that's not a feasible solution. So I think that's just something that I need to get more involvement on different shifts and really find better ways to teach people how to balance their time. I think time management is a problem for anybody. So I think that's something that has been one of my major challenges.
We share that challenge. It's absolutely difficult to get everybody's calendars aligned. I'll also say that keeping it fresh, if you've served in the military, you've probably been in some sort of mentorship program, right? And it can easily be watered down, or you can see the same thing, and you've heard the same thing a million times. Why do you want to go through this at work while you're not getting paid, while you could be doing something else? So keeping it fresh, keeping it interesting for the veterans. We have a team that works on this. So we do meet bi-weekly to create content. It's not just one-on-one with a mentor. but we also are creating, classes that can help them, whatever it is that they're interested in learning about, how to navigate your career, how to, whatever it is you may want to do. So we're also providing content as well. So that's been a difficulty, just keeping it fresh, keeping it interesting. So we have a reason to do it again next year.
Excellent.
I think one of the things that we saw at Amazon that was actually a pretty big fail on our part was there's a big difference between the corporate and the field and the divide in the program, right? So if you're working in Seattle and you're in a corporate office working 9 to 5, pretty easy to get into a routine of the mentorship program. If you're in a fulfillment center and you're an hourly employee, you don't have a laptop. You don't have an office. You're working on weekends. You're working shift work. They didn't have literally didn't have the same resources that our corporate personnel had as far as being issued a laptop. They had their phone, but the phone didn't necessarily work on all the systems for the mentoring platform. So I think we built it, the corporate people built it and didn't do a good job of taking into consideration the most junior people that were in the field, the drivers, the workers in the warehouse. Now we've invested a lot since then to build a more app-friendly tool that can do those things. But that was we're getting some pretty bad feedback from the fulfillment centers, which is the vast majority of our veterans are out in the field. So again, I think we looked at it from the maybe a top-down lens, vice the bottom-up lens when we started the program, and had to take some kind of lumps on that to then, okay, how do we really make this most valuable to the folks that probably need it the most? I mean, we probably didn't do that at the outset. Good intentions, but bad execution.
Excellent. Okay, so as we talk about this, I want to get into more of the engaging your veteran mentors themselves, right, that actually run those programs. So what kind of what kind of strategies do you use to recruit and engage your veteran mentors within your organization? And how do you ensure that they're effective in their roles mentoring?
Yeah, so when I built the program, I really wanted to make sure that there was a lot of structure around it. So when I ran the pilot, I think, everyone's really gung-ho at first, right? They're, oh my God, yeah, I want to participate in this. And then communication starts to drop off a little bit. So to keep them engaged and to keep a pulse on those conversations that they're having, I made sure that everybody signed a statement of understanding that this is not paid work, this is additional, and you are going to carve out time to have these conversations, whether it's virtual, whether it's in person, you can have that autonomy. But there will be check-in points at 90 days, at 1 year. I'm going to do an AAR with you. I want to know what went well, like what was the outcome, what I gave them a tracker so that they could track their takeaways and make sure that these were fruitful conversations and that they were actually happening. So to keep their level of engagement and commitment to the program so that it didn't fall to the wayside, because sometimes these initiatives will start out strong and then they just disappear. So I did not want that to happen. And then in order to gain the excitement around it, I worked alongside of my communications team. I have my own distribution lists, but I wanted executive sponsorship for it. So I wanted to make sure that my chief HR officer, who is the whole reason we have a military program in place, I want to make sure that he is, excited about the program too, and talking about this and knows that it exists. So I work with my communications team. We have a newsletter that goes out every other Wednesday. And I wanted to make sure that there was an article about this new program and gain excitement. And then I started seeing the emails pour in about it. So you have to put the word out there, but then you have to create structure and deliverables around it. In addition to, tracking conversations, I assign courses. So everyone gets a free membership to LinkedIn Learning through our organization. And I'm assigning courses like about professional communication, about, PMP. We have so many people who want to take the PMP track and they want to get certified. Making sure that they're attending the ERG meetings and then sharing their stories about their mentorship and how those conversations are going. And then they become their own ambassadors and they excite everyone else. It doesn't just need to come from me. So that's been very helpful too.
Wow, that's real quick. So excellent model. And I was just curious, this is good idea fairy here, Nick, George. If there's an opportunity for you guys going forward to have a repository for all the folks that come here and share things, whether it's the panel or those that are here, repository to share templates possibly going
Of
forward. I think that'd be very helpful for all of us to create and be your own kind of thing, right? So
Just one other thing, sorry. So when every mentor or mentee wants to start the program, I think a lot of times we forget to equip them with the tools. We just expect them to go and have those conversations and they just know how to be mentors, right? But are they familiar with, active listening techniques? Are they familiar with effective coaching methods? So I actually I did some research. I put together, maybe like a 30-minute at most PowerPoint slide deck on effective coaching, building mutual trust, just the foundations of mentorship, and then vetted it through my L&D team. So I actually involved a lot of people in the process. I wanted to make sure that this was flawless. And I wanted people to poke holes in it too. And so in order to make sure that they actually are doing what they're supposed to be doing the right way and that they're staying engaged and that mentors are actually learning something too, I wanted to give them the tools to equip them to have those correct mentorship conversations, because it's a really big deal. You're affecting somebody else's personal and professional growth. So I needed to make sure that mentees and mentors had that understanding.
thank you, Robert. Go ahead, Robert.
Well, I hate to say I don't have a lot to add. I feel like you were reading my notes verbatim. We have a great executive sponsor. Shout out to Paul Bages. He is a veteran. He has zero free time, but he makes time to help the military community, not just veterans, but anybody in the military community. So he will have his communications team put out notes constantly, right? Stay on top of it. Stay on top of it. Aaron Forbes, Siobhan Anner, they're just always supporting this program, making sure that it is front and center of not just those in the TD Bank military community, but everyone who will read an email from our executive sponsor. And that's everybody. Everybody who sees his name will read that email. So shout out to our comms team for getting this in front of everybody. But I mean, everything you said, staying on top of them, having weekly check-ins, asking for input from both the mentor and the mentees. I mean, spot on. And some ideas you said I'm going to steal too. So thanks.
Feel free. I think information sharing is so important. So seriously, if there's something that I've mentioned that you're like, oh, wait, I didn't think about that. Come to me. I'm more than happy to share. Yeah.
And I would say you hit on most of it, but like the biggest challenge for these programs is the continuity in it, because there's a lot of turnover. Somebody's leaves the company, or someone on a maternity leave and they were one of our best mentors. What happens to those people and how do you take care of them? And again, especially if you're out at these sites in the field, if you have a veteran that's super fired up and he gets promoted, moved to their building, how do you keep that going? That's really that succession planning almost for your programs. When you have hundreds of locations where you have employees is very, very challenging. So again, I think that was one of the biggest challenges we had was, maintaining the communication out there, finding new people to join, identifying veterans when they came in, and making sure they were getting the information of how to sign up. Same for military spouses. We had actually a separate military spouse VRG, big enough at Amazon, but they had their own kind of communication network too. But how do you just get the word out to them when they join that those resources are available to keep it going and always getting fresh blood in there? Because, what you did see, like if anything, you'd have a handful of people that were mentoring a lot of, were super involved, right? And when one of those people leaves, it can be a blow to the whole program if you don't have a way to kind of, work with that.
I think what you really want to see is those mentees turn around and become mentors, and then see the longevity continue. And like, I hope that I can come back next year like you and say, yes, all the mentees became mentors, because they now they can share so much more knowledge, and they're excited about it. They participated.
All right, last question before I open up to the floor here. So feedback mechanisms. How do you gather feedback? We mentioned the surveying multiple times a year, et cetera. So how do you gather feedback from veteran employees participating in these programs, and how do you use that feedback for continuous improvement?
Yeah, I love success stories. I love testimonials. I think I love to hear them speak. I'm tired of pushing it myself now. I want the employees to be heard now that this program is established. So I always ask like the military spouse testimonials, and I follow those templates, and I'm just like, give me your story. You know, how is this working for you? Those after action reviews, those check-ins, that's so important. And then I take that back and share that with my chief HR officer and my boss, because we're always looking to show how the programs that I'm leading are aligning with our company goals.
You publish that from marketing or anything like that? Use those testimonials?
Yeah, so we I don't know how many of you have heard of an app called Seen It, and you can make little videos, like just company videos and stuff. You can assign somebody a topic, and then they just use their cell phone and they start talking, it records it, and then you can overlay it with music and do stuff like that. And that's what we did. Like, to promote the ERG, we put it right on our military career site. If you go to Cedars-Sinai jobs and you scroll to the bottom, you'll see our testimonials of our, some of our existing employees and spouses. And then under that, you'll see Juan Reyes, who is our supply chain manager. He's a Coast Guard veteran, and we wanted to get his story as a leader in the ERG. And so he did about a 2-minute video, and that's how we collect testimonials. We use these fancy apps now. We're getting on board with AI and all this great technology, and we're using that to showcase their voices. And that's been very effective.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of surveys, like I mentioned earlier, but I will say testimonials is a great thing. We do that with a lot of other programs and that we have in place. We do have a veteran summit that we hold every year that celebrates the military community, the service members within TD Bank, and some of the events we do. We do promote the mentorship program there, and we've been getting more people signing up and fresh blood, right? And I feel like that's just one way we've been able to promote it and been successful with it as well. So keeping it front and center.
And just, again, I think the feedback piece is key, but then recognizing those mentors that are doing a good job by giving them opportunities. We would have Amazon we obviously have Amazon Studios and whatnot. We'd have a grand opening somewhere, and we could get some of our mentors to go to those things and reward them or get them recognized by their bosses, right? So to show the effort they're having, I mean, it's not something that necessarily is going to help them get promoted, but it's because it's a collateral duty. But if their boss knows they're doing a good job, it can only help, right? So making sure that they're being recognized by, the VRG, but getting that up to their bosses to kind of show them that, hey, these people are doing a good job. They're making an impact. They're helping our retention. They're helping our promotion rates. This is something that you may not be aware of this, but it's a good thing,
I mean, if you think about it, in the military, we love certificates, we love challenge coins, we love medals, ribbons, like that shows that we did something. It's proof in the pudding. So yeah, absolutely. That's great.
All right, it's that time. So what questions do we have for the panel? It's the first one. Yes, ma'am.
I'm just wondering how you reach out to all of the veterans, especially some of these bigger organizations, to let them know about the program benefits, and especially when you have people in different roles who, and I know you kind of touched on this a little bit, but might otherwise maybe not even have access to see the value of mentorship.
Yeah, for us, you self-ID when you come on board at Amazon, you would self-ID. So we knew every month which veterans were coming on board, and they would receive an email that had this information out there and available to them. Now, did every one of them join up? Not even close. And I think we estimated that we were probably at maybe 30% of our. I mean, we were not getting all the veterans involved. I mean, that's just the reality of it. We knew how many we had. We knew how many were active. So I think the word gets out there. I think there are some folks that are just, I'm doing my job, I'm good right now. Some folks take a couple years to kind of get acclimated to the company and then join later. I know a lot of folks will tell you, when they leave the military in particular, all right, that's not what I want to do. But then a few years later, well, I kind of missed that and I want to get back involved, right? So at least being aware of your overall numbers was important. And you could kind of see how many folks were actually registered and being active. But that key was having a mechanism for us to self-identify veterans in our system for hiring reporting. It's a big deal, obviously, for anything you're reporting if you're a federal contractor, then engaging them and seeing what percentage of those folks actually replied. So that's really about that, making it easy for them to self-identify in the application process for our veterans and military spouses.
Next question.
One other thing I'm going to add too, again, mentoring obviously inside any organization you're with is super important. But I'm gonna foot stomp too. We heard today before about ACP and the great job they do for mentoring as well. I've been a mentor at ACP for I think 7 years now. Every one of my proteges has found a job during that period of time. I love what they're doing, and again, whether if you're inside whatever company, giving back as a mentor to folks that are not in your company is also, I think, super valuable, whether they join your company or somewhere else. Again, I loved being part of that. It's a very different relationship, I think, at ACP, because it's a year long, it's a commitment, maybe different than inside it. But I put a plug in for them, because if you like mentoring, there's a great place to plug in and get some great insight on how to be a better mentor, they'll it's great resources there if you're not aware of it or haven't signed up. So,
and if your company doesn't have the appetite to start its own mentoring program, but you may have the people to do it, ACP will speak. They will come to your company and speak about what they do and how you can, as a group, be like a mentor group.
Also, don't forget to seek mentorship yourself. Like, yes, you're the one facilitating all these programs, but don't forget to feed yourself too. And actually, I found mentorship through a Recruiter Connect event that Vet Jobs and Military Spouse Jobs was hosting. I attended a meeting, and Tommy Jones, I don't know if many of you know who Tommy Jones is. He used to work for Walmart and Verizon running their military programs. And I was like, wow, like he, was in between gigs and had some time, and I reached out and he was like, absolutely. And so I picked his brain and asked for some guidance on some things that I was struggling with. And it was the best thing I could have ever done for myself. It refueled me with creativity. It gave me solutions to some of the challenges that I was facing in my own organization. And then I can turn around and share that knowledge too. If you're an active member of MSEP, sometimes the Military Spouse Employment Partnership will say, hey, we have a new company coming on board. You'll meet with your representative quarterly, and they'll say, we love what you're doing. Will you share that information with this new company? And it gives you the opportunity to keep your mentor skills fresh as well. So, again, knowledge is power. So.
Thank you for that. Yep, we have one question. Last question.
Thank you. Thanks for everybody and for this knowledge. It's really great. So we've had a mentorship program in our ERG for about the last 3 years, but numbers continue to dwindle. And where some of our challenges have been is that we either have people that are really young, like in the company, and just kind of learning their job, kind of like what you said about, there's so much to learn. And then we have people that are really senior, like 30 years, 25 years, things like that. And getting people to see the opportunity for mentoring as like a good thing or something they need, that where people just say, like, I'm more focused on my career and my career path, right? So have you had any of those challenges, and how have you tried to overcome that?
Got 1 minute.
For me, not yet. But I think the way you can overcome that is show them, like, yes, you can be totally focused on your career and your career path, but you're always going to need to learn something new and keep your skill set growing, or you're never going to continue to grow or provide value to that department. So how do you overcome that? Mentorship. Now, you tell me, do you want personal mentorship? Do you want professional mentorship? Is there a certification that we can help you get? Like that's all part of it. And so I think you have to teach people that you can go stagnant, and then eventually what happens when your position gets eliminated or there's a layoff, or maybe we're doing a restructuring. But if you had expanded your skill set or, done something a little bit extracurricular, we could have maybe moved you here. Or, you know what, we see incredible motivation in you, and let's help get you to the next level. Like, the manager needs to be involved in that too. So I think mentorship is, if you're not taking advantage of it, that's silly, because it's you're just going to end up working yourself out of a job.
It's a good opportunity to network, right? Try to put that spin on it too.
All right, well, I want to say thank you very much for listening to the great panel that we have. Thanks to the panelists for being here, and have a great day.